Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Abruzzi ANZCAR Cup. Yes, we are back home again. We are here at the Kansas Motor Speedway, and we are back for the chase for the championship. Now, we're just going to be heading into qualifying on a very tricky track tonight. Kansas is a little bit slippery tonight. A lot of the drivers are struggling with rear-end grip, so expect to see some trouble out there, especially for the qualifying laps. You could see a few favoured drivers having issue. Joining me up in the box tonight, as ever, is Mr. JP. How you going, JP?
Carl, I'm doing really well, thanks, and good evening, viewers from Australia and all over the world. We're back again after a week away, and this promises to be some really exciting racing tonight.
Yeah. Yes, it's looking like it's going to be a good one tonight. And of course, the cup is starting to heat up, and that does make a big difference. Of course, we have got our championship standings, and I will get up to those as soon as we finish qualifying. We're just on Danny G at the moment. We were anyway. Now we're back on with Edward Foster, who's setting a good lap time as we stand. So expect to see some good laps out there tonight by Foster. He's going to be looking at making a bit of headway tonight, I imagine, as he is chasing for that cup place. So he is chasing that cup championship, which a few other drivers are not in the running anymore. So Foster is one of the closer drivers to there, setting a good lap time. He's got himself up into third at the moment, and that quickly changes to fourth as Hamish Gallagher manages to set a blistering lap time of a 30.3. So great lap there from Hamish Gallagher.
Yeah, they're really hitting the ground running now, and Foster is definitely trying to narrow that gap between him and Martin. Danny G looks like he's on a really good run at the moment.
Yeah, this second lap is going to be the important one. Foster jumps up there to second place. It was third place actually now. Hamish Gallagher and Danny G just setting a brilliant lap, 30.28. Jason Hartigan just setting a stormer out there as well, 30.2. And I got a feeling that was Jason's first lap, was it? No, that was his second lap. So yeah, really good lap time there from Jason Hartigan. Jason Martin, the other Jason, is out there.
Just with Jason Martin there, he just had a tank slapper on his second lap, so that's probably hurt him quite a bit. But he is in third place now.
Yeah, even when Jason Martin makes a mistake, it doesn't cost him too much, and we find that with him so often. He's one of those drivers that just seems to have that bit of extra luck sometimes, and it's definitely helped him out this season.
Yeah, well, he was lucky to have he got a decent banker there, and he was coming around for his second lap, and got the car kind of sideways. And here we're with Michael Skurlock, and he looks like he's on his second flying lap. So let's see what he can do.
Again, Skurlock setting some good times. He's pretty much out of contention for the championship now, and he said tonight he's looking to sort of make a statement in this race now. He doesn't have the pressure of the championship on him now. So he's going to look at trying to set some good laps out there, try and get a good finishing position. Stephen Williams out on track as well at the moment, just coming around for his first lap. So we'll see how he goes for this one. Stephen Williams as well, one of those drivers that's dropped back a bit in the chase. So probably going to be looking for a better finishing position, but not necessarily fighting for the top spot at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. These guys have really got nothing to lose now, so they're really going to try and move as high up the finishing order for the chase as they can.
Yeah, that's it. It's trying to get that good finish to your season and getting a good position out of it. And it's also trying to finish the season strong. You finish off a season with a win, you are going to be feeling so much happier about it.
Oh, look at this, Roman Jaeger. This is going to hurt.
Huge moment for Jaeger there, absolutely ruining that second lap, unfortunately. That is taking him out of contention for the first place. He has managed to set a decent lap, getting him in 14th place, though, so not the worst case scenario, but definitely not what he would have wanted there.
And Ashley Davis has finished off his 2 laps, and finished in 12th place. And Stephen Williams has been able to move up to 7th place. Sorry.
Yeah, good lap from Stephen Williams there. Again, setting some really good lap times. Stephen Williams having a good season after a few little niggles at the start, but he's finishing it off strong. So I'm quickly going to go through those places in the championship before we run through our starting grid. So up the front of the lead in the chase at the moment is Jason Martin. He is where am I? He's 12 points clear of Edward Foster. Josh Micklemore is there in third, who's 37 points away from Jason Martin. Hamish Gallagher fourth, he's 39 points away. Fifth place is Jason Hartigan, who's 40 points away. 44 points down is Michael Skurlock. Danny G, 70 points down. Stephen Williams, 92 points down. Norman Clark, 103 points down. Bradley Allison, 114. And Matt Hunter there at the end of the chase grid with 120 points. Leading the best of the rest category is JCW, Josh Carroll-Walden, who has got a relatively good lead over his nearest rival. So he's got some good points ahead, and he's going to be looking at finishing strong in that 12th place. This season, of course, we do have 11 chase competitors because it was a draw for those final positions. So let's run through the starting grid. So on pole position, we have Danny G with Jason Hartigan next to him. That's row 1. Row 2 is Jason Martin with Hamish Gallagher. Row 3, Edward Foster with Michael Skurlock. Row 4, Stephen Williams and Lachlan Urquio. Row 5, Josh Micklemore with Aidan Schultz. Row 6 is Joshua Carroll-Walden and Ashley Davis. Row 7 is Bradley Allison and Raymond Yeager. Row 8, Phil Otto and Adam Rosell. Row 9 is Norman Clark, Mitch Campbell. Row 10, Stuart Pedersen with Jake Maloney. Row 11 is Michael Schroeder and Matt Hunter. And at the back on row number 12 is Riley Curtis with Michael Shaw.
Right, they're all ready to get started behind the safety car. And good evening to new viewers there. David Kirby just said good evening. Good evening, David. Hope you enjoy the race tonight, mate.
Yes, good evening to everybody joining us for the first time. And if you're not so familiar with the rules of the NASCAR season, also the ANZCAR season...
What? There are rules?
There are a couple. Not too many.
I thought it was go fast, turn left, and don't make it too obvious when you hit someone.
Well, those are the main rules. The championship rules, though. So the reason why we have the championship as we do is the chase is basically the top 10 contenders for the main season move into their own championship battle, and that's what we see here. Obviously, we have 11 championship contenders this year because we did have a draw for P10. Those 11 drivers then fight for the championship proper. So those guys in the chase are battling it out for the championship. And really, it's a battle between Micklemore, Foster, and Martin at the moment. Those three are very much in contention. So we're getting ready to go live here at Kansas. The cars are starting up good and proper. Danny G will be leading away very shortly when that pace car comes in. And we are going to be going green for the Kansas Speedway Race Hall, the ANZCAR Abruzzi Cup.
And Danny G's got a really nice start there, and Jason Martin has stayed with him. Hartigan's fallen back a little bit, but I don't think it's really going to faze him too much. It's early days at the moment.
Yeah, that high line is somewhere you don't really want to be at this early stage of the race just because the track is so slippery. So he's probably just dropping back a little bit to try and get a bit of a safer line. You can see Jason Martin there going quite high and just having to hold the car. Skurlock behind him as well. Those guys are having to put a lot more effort in to keep up there than the guys down the low line. And you can see Jason Martin is just falling down into third place. Foster is looking good at catching him. He's going to get a bit of a draft here from his teammate of Hartigan. Get underneath Jason Martin. You can see, Hartigan there just had the slide there for his tail going up in front of Martin. Martin coming down the inside of him. And that's going to cost Hartigan a little bit. Obviously, when you slide like that, you don't just have a bit of punishment for that moment. Your rear tyres heat up as well, and that can sometimes overheat them and make the car much trickier for the rest of the lap.
Yeah, 100%. And right now, Hartigan's kind of like up in no man's land. He needs to get down onto the low line. Ideally, he'd like to slot down in front of Foster if he can, which looks like he has. and now
Yeah,
he's trying to work to get in front of Martin.
yeah, he's got down in front of Foster there, and he's going to try and push a little bit to get in front of
Oh,
Martin.
oh! We just had a car just touch the wall there and bounce off, but it doesn't look like there've been any there's any too much damage. Just got to go to a replay here. I think that was Stuart Pedersen.
A bit of a moment there for Pedersen, and I think he's gone round. He's gone down onto the infield there. A big moment for him. Managed to keep that car sort of running, but a big scary moment there, and that's losing the rear end on this track. It's so easy to do. And as we said, these rear tyres are going to be screaming. Up the front, we've got a great battle now as Jason Hartigan has taken the lead from Danny G. Foster is looking to get up there as well. Seems the high line is working quite well for these guys at the moment. Obviously, low line is going to be the slightly faster line sometimes because you're making the track shorter, but you put a bit more punishment through the tyres. So I think these guys are going to sit probably on the higher line at the moment, run close to the wall. It's a bit of a dangerous spot to run on because, of course, you are so close to the wall. One mistake and you are going out of the race, or you are going to make a big dent in the car. And that does not help you on these 1.5 mile ovals.
100%. And this has kind of played into the hands of Foster and Hartigan. Danny G's the meat in the sandwich here, but he hasn't got his teammate with him to do anything with. So, if anything, he's going to be dragging Foster along and helping him out.
Yeah, he's got into a good position, and he's sort of making it a bit harder for Jason Martin because he's trying to run that low line to get past. And you can see now Danny G's just dropping a little bit lower, trying to give his teammate a little bit of draft. Just behind, there was a little bit of a moment with the car just blinking. They did hear on the radio that there were a couple of cars just having a little bit of a blink earlier on. We'll keep an eye on that just in case. If you're unfamiliar with the term blinking, it's just when you get a bit of server lag, basically. Unfortunately, sometimes it can happen, and you just sort of disappear for a moment on the track, and it can be very, very tricky to follow somebody that has that happening. And it can sometimes mean you have to retire from the race. But Foster's getting a good run on Danny G now, going down the inside. This is going to give him a good run down there. He's probably going to want to come back up and try and slot in between Danny G and Hartigan. Hartigan's probably going to come try and give him a little bit of a slip, but he just doesn't make it. So he's slotted in behind Danny G once more to stop his teammate of Jason Martin getting in there.
Yeah, he just didn't have the herbs to get in front of Danny G, and he's just been able to hold out Martin, but Martin's right there with him. Thanks very much, James. You just let us know there wasn't any engine sound, which is fortuitous because I was going to say at the start of the race, let's listen to these cars as they roar on through. But we've been able to fix that problem. We've got the engine sound running now, so please let us know how the mix is. If you can hear us, if you can hear the cars, always good to know.
Yeah, we always appreciate feedback like that because it can be tricky when you're broadcasting. Usually I give a little bit of a listen as we start for making sure that we can be heard, but sometimes I don't have a chance to do that live in the race to check engine sounds, and it's a lot harder when you're actually doing the camera work like JP. But Jason Hartigan is up the front, and he is leading quite well. Ooh, Jason Martin there just getting a bit of a slide as he goes through turn number 2, and that's not going to help him out. That's going to light those rear tyres up once more and hurt him for these next couple of corners.
Now, lap 10 at 133, do you think at this stage Martin's thinking to himself, I really need to do something about these guys, I need to be in front of Foster whatever happens?
Well, I think he's going to be quite content sitting there as long as he's not sort of working his tyres too hard. That's going to be the big defining factor of this race, is who can keep their tyres alive the longest. These guys, they're going to start having trouble with the rears from about now onwards. Oh, Hartigan up into the wall there, just giving it the slightest of touches, but you can see that's dropped him back towards Danny G, giving Danny G a good run on him. He didn't do much damage to the car, but he did make some sparks, and that beautiful paint livery is now a little bit less beautiful, and that's giving Danny G the chance to get past him and up into the lead. Now, he's going to have to try and slot up in front of Hartigan, which is easier said than done. Hartigan's going to get a better run off the corner, and he's going to be able to just stop Danny G from getting in front of him by the look of it.
Yeah, he's scarred that beautiful dragon livery, but he's doing everything he possibly can, and he still manages to...
Oh, Danny G coming up. Foster's had to take avoiding action. He's gone down. He's managed to keep the car straight. He's going to have to get the car back on the track. That was a big moment for Foster, just having to avoid Danny G there as he came back up on the line. I think Danny G thought he had a little bit more room than he did. Just having a look back at that myself. And Danny G just comes up and Foster just hit the wall. There might have just been a little bit of downforce just dropped off of Foster's car then as Danny G came up in front of him, and that caused him to just tap the wall. He managed to keep the car across the infield, most importantly for him, but that has dropped him back down the order to 9th place.
Absolutely, and that could well be a championship defining moment there.
Yeah, that could have huge implications for his championship. And he's got to fight his way back up now. He's also got damage on the front of that car, which is not going to help him at all. On these tracks, it is a very fast track, and any damage you have on the aero of these cars can affect you. Looks like Skurlock's got a little bit of damage. Oh, and just behind not Raymond Yeager, Jacob Maloney, I think. Lachlan?
Yep.
Lachlan Urquio. Yeah, Lachlan Urquio's gone round.
Taking a big spin. Let's see if we can have a look at that.
So what's happened is he's just come round. He's got a little bit of front end loss, it looks like. He's gone up into the wall, and that's just bounced him down the road. So he just lost a little bit of the aero, I think, just as he got behind Riley Curtis there. Caused him out slightly, just tapped the wall, and that's tapped him down into the grass. And he's tried his best to keep it in a straight line, but just spun it as he's hit the grass. So unlike Foster, who managed to get across there and managed to skate across the grass, Lockie managed to keep the car down on the low line, which is a good job, but did end up spinning around, and that's given us a caution. So I expect we're going to see a few cars jump in for some fresh tyres a little bit further down the field. Obviously, you do have 4 sets of tyres for this race, so you are tyre limited, but you might see a few people roll the dice now, get some fresh tyres, because they will help you out.
Yeah, that's going to be the whole thing of this race, isn't it? It's going to be the strategy, what you do with the tyres at this early stage of the race. Expect to see some people come in, and here we go. The front runners are definitely coming in. This might also work in for Ed Foster. He'll come in most likely and see if he can get some repairs done to his car.
Yeah, he'll get some repairs done, and the whole field's coming in. It's a big issue here tonight at Kansas, is those rear tyres are just lighting it up and causing a lot of issues. So he is definitely... so people are definitely going to come in and get those rear tyres done. You might see some people try roll the dice and just do one side of tyres only. I'll keep an eye on that. We might just see one set of tyres only. That's a bit of a gamble, of course. But I think we're going to see most of the field changing all 4 tyres.
Now let's have a look at these pit stop times. Now Williams had a 7.2, so he must have just taken fuel. Danny G was a 15 flat, Hardigan 14.9, Gallagher 14.6, Martin 14.5, and Allison 7.9. Those 7.2, 7.9s were obviously fuel only.
Yeah, just fuel in those guys. So they've only taken fuel in their cars. So that's going to be interesting on the restart, because they're going to be on old, slightly worn tyres, and those rear tyres are going to be very tricky to get restarted on. The one advantage that they do have is the fact that those tyres will be slightly warmer than those guys around them. So they'll have a little bit more heat in their tyres. The people behind the pace car now will have fresh tyres on. Of course, there's no tyre blankets in NASCAR and ANZCAR as well. So those tyres come straight on, they're stone cold, and you have to warm them up as you go through the around the circuit. When you're behind the pace car, you tend to lose a lot of temperature. So expect to see those guys just probably holding their brakes a little bit, just dabbing the brakes, running along with a little bit of brake on, and just trying to warm those tyres up a little bit. The advantage of having those slightly worn tyres is they will heat up a little bit quicker. The disadvantage, though, is there's less rubber on them. So when you put your foot down, it's much easier to spin them up. So Stephen Williams is going to have to make a perfect restart here. Otherwise, it's going to work out extremely well for Danny G, who's sitting up next to him. Jason Hartigan and Jason Martin might be the 2 that lose out here, being on that low line behind Stephen Williams.
They're going to need to move really fast. I mean, I think, like you said, Williams is going to need a perfect restart. Otherwise, he's going to hold those guys up behind him. He's going to hold up Martin and Hardigan. They're going to need to find their way around him as quickly as they possibly can.
Yeah, the big issue as well, of course, is he's the lead car, so it's his initiative to drop the pedal. So he's going to drop it probably pretty early. Yep, and he does. So he's going to get away nicely here. But you might see Danny G just come back at him as they go through this first set of corners. We're going to see how much those rear tire, well, how much that tyre wear is going to affect Stephen Williams. He's managed to get a good pull away now, but you can see Jason Mahartigan just pulling down the inside, and they are just able to drive around him with no issue at all. So he's gone up high to just keep that high line, but those guys on the fresh tyres are just able to whiz past. So it was actually Danny G who got caught out a little bit because of that.
Yeah, I expected Martin to go to the low line, and he went straight up to the high line and pretty much cut Danny G off. But now Danny G's coming back really well. Tried to get past Hardigan, hasn't been able to do it. Hardigan's gotten back out in front of him. This is going to be an exciting race.
More importantly, JP, look behind Jason Hartigan right now. There is a 3-car train of the Mitch Motorsport team. You have Danny G, Jason Martin, and Josh Micklemore all in a line. Hamish Gallagher is just behind him with JCW, Josh Carroll-Walden lining up just behind him. So those Mitch Motorsport cars are sitting in a good position to start working together.
Absolutely, and now Hardigan is going to be the lone gunner, the guy out on his own. He's got no teammate around him. Foster is still down the field. He's actually moved to 7th, but Hardigan's got no support. Yeah,
and you can see JCW is trying his best to get up there and try and split those Mitch Motorsport cars up a little bit. He's putting in some moves to try and get there. Foster has got some decent pace behind him. You can see he's actually catching up to these lead cars. He's broken away from that second pack and is starting to catch up to the front lot. And you can see with the defensive driving of the Mitch Motorsport cars to try and keep Joshua Carroll-Walden behind him, it's ended up costing him there, as it looks like Hamish Gallagher's managed to get in front of Micklemore. As they battle as well, it's only helping Foster out.
Yeah, 100%. And Foster is out on his own, and he's making up grounds on these guys. And as you can see there, Gallagher is sort of moving up the field as well. So if anything, if Gallagher can get in front of Martin and Danny G, perhaps he and Hardigan can start to work together.
Yeah, he'll do his best there. Just looking back a little bit, so I'll let you carry on for a moment, JP.
Yeah, and we've seen Gallagher in the past. He's one of these quiet achievers as well. He sort of comes out of nowhere, and then towards the tail end of the race, he is super fast and super competitive. Tonight, he's taken the bull by the horns, and he's really going for it. He's not letting these guys get away from him. He's staying with them. I think he wants to try and stamp his authority on this race as well.
Yeah, and a win here could be good things for Hamish. Obviously, wins do make things a lot better. And, obviously winning always helps out your stock as well in the future. Just want to point out for Lachlan Apio, we saw him have that spin a little bit earlier on. He's managed to work his way back up to 10th position. That was an absolute biblical restart for him. He was just getting up there. So he's got some seriously good pace in that car.
Lachlan's really come on in the last few rounds. He's one of the rookies of this series. He's kind of been overshadowed by Jason Hardigan and his achievements, but Lachlan is always there or thereabouts and has fallen foul to some pretty awful luck in the past few races. Actually, quite a few races. So I think last round he managed to salvage a reasonable finish. He's coming on, and it's great to see.
Yeah, another guy that's had a good run from the start of this race. Well, two people actually, Jake Maloney and Matt Hunter. They're up there in 11th and 12th at the moment. Matt Hunter gaining 11 places through this race. Again, good to see Matt Hunter getting up there. This is his sort of cup rookie season for his cup drive. Matt Hunter, of course, was working the cameras in the past few years for the Cup Series. So it's always good to see Matt Hunter having a good result. We always wish him well. A little bit further back though, Jake Maloney just having a little bit of trouble skimming the wall a little bit as well. But we will return our focus up to the front where Jason Hardigan has a very fast Danny G behind him. Hamish Gallagher behind Danny G. And then Jason Martin, Josh Micklemore and Edward Foster there.
Yeah,
who's managed to get past JCW.
Yeah, Danny G didn't have such a fantastic round at the Roval, but this week he's really looking racy, and he's certainly giving it to Hardigan. He is all over the back of his car, and not going to be letting him go. And it's also great to see Foster's made his way back to 6th place now, and he's catching up, and he's been able to hook up with JCW, which is great. These guys will work together, and they'll try to get themselves back to the very pointy end of the field, I think.
Yeah, good job from them, and they're going to be working together trying to get themselves up there. It's a bit of the big team lockout at the front with the JP Simshed cars and the Mitch Motorsport, but we do have a sort of piggy in the middle with the 13 management team, and that's Hamish Gallagher, who's doing a great job as always. He tends to be out there on his own with his team, so he sort of doesn't have too many teammates to work with, but he always manages to get up there and do a great job. So always good to see that from Hamish Gallagher, and he is one of those drivers that is incredibly good, he thinks about his race. He's probably one of the sort of smarter drivers out there, and he tends to keep his tyres well. He's extremely well-rounded, and he is going to be he's going to be an absolute threat to the future, if not as of present. We've seen this year he's had some good results, but I think next year we might see a few more from him.
Yeah, 100%. And as you alluded to, he's a very, very smart racer. We've seen him pull a rabbit out of the hat with fuel saving and tyre conservation, being able to win a race with that. So, yeah, he's not one of those guys to be discounted. And if I was Danny G, I'd certainly be concerned.
Yeah, he's one of the few drivers that's not in the aforementioned Mitch Motorsport or JP Simshed team to get wins this season. The only other drivers who have sort of managed to get a few wins under their belt this year in that sort of top group of cars is Michael Skurlock, who is one of those drivers again that tends to come good in the latter half of the race. He's struggling a little bit out there at the moment as he's down there in, where am I? 18th, yeah, so 18th position. So a little bit further down than expected for Skurlock, but expect that to change a little bit later in the race. We do see that with him sometimes.
Yeah, look, lap 33 of 133, seeing Michael Skurlock in 18th position, I'm not entirely worried. This guy, I like to call him the silent assassin. He comes out of nowhere, picks his way through the field, and before you know it, he's either harassing you for first place or he's out the front and getting away from you.
Yeah, that's it. And after the race, if you want to see a driver's eye view of what goes on, you can check out Skurlock on Skurlockin on Twitch. So one of those drivers that does stream during the race, and well worth watching because you can see some really interesting stuff with that.
And we're watching Martin now on the low line trying to make a move on Gallagher and Micklemore, but that just didn't work. It seems that the high line is the line to be on.
Yeah, with all these drivers running that high line at the moment, it's rubbering up well. That's meaning that the low line is getting lots of those little marbles on it. It's starting to get a little bit ragged down there and a little bit tricky to work on. So these drivers are going to have to be careful of that low line now because it's going to be very easy to make mistakes. And making a mistake a little bit further down the field, I just noticed was Raymond Yeager, who just had a bit of a tail slide, and that dropped him down a couple of positions. But it's treacherous out there tonight. The tail of these cars are very slippery. These guys are struggling with that rear end grip, but also struggling with the cars themselves. It's a hard track to run on, Kansas, because it is very slippery. And with the new tyre models, with the new updates to iRacing, things have changed a little bit from prior seasons, and that can make it feel a little bit worse sometimes. But they're doing a great job out there. Seeing we've only had the one caution so far, we were sort of talking before the race, expecting maybe a couple more, but they're doing a brilliant job not to have not to make this race run on a caution too long.
Yeah, absolutely great to see that these guys are out there circulating. Like you said, we were talking before the start of the race, saying that with the track conditions being what they are at the moment, this could turn into a caution fest. But we've only had the one caution so far, and things are looking pretty good. So now that I've said that, the commentator's curse. Although I'm not a commentator, I'm a producer, so that's okay.
Yes, that's it. Producers don't tend to cause a curse, but I did say it, so guaranteed it will happen. Just mentioning another driver that's doing a good job out there, Ashley Davis, having a good run. Just the second time out here in the Cup Series. So Ashley just sitting down there in 14th position at the moment. Doing a good job, a little bit of damage on the car, but nothing too serious. So just getting in those laps, getting a good feel for the series, and that's a good way to go about it. You might not win in your first couple of races, but you can learn an awful lot. There's no point pushing the car too hard, no point taking all of the risks, because you are going to end up sort of going around and having trouble, as he just loses the rear end there coming through turn number 4.
Tiny little tank slapper there.
Yeah, and that's it. And this is the problem with this track, is those rear tyres heat up quickly, and it's so easy to lose that rear end.
But look, he managed to hold on to it. He's still, well, he didn't lose any position. He and Mitch Campbell, both from 9.5 SimSport, both relatively new to the ANZCAR Cup Series. They're doing a pretty reasonable job. They're circulating, they're staying where they should be, and they're staying out of trouble, which is the most important thing.
They are, but jumping back to the front, we have a battle going on between Gallagher and Martin now. Martin is down on the inside. He has been in this position for a few laps, and this is allowing Foster to catch back up to them. After that little hit to the wall, Foster has done a great job to recover those positions. As Foster gets a little bit of a tail slide going through turn number 2 as well. Turn number 2 is seeming a little bit treacherous out there tonight. Gallagher's keeping that high line. Oh, and we got a caution.
Looks like we've had an incident with Aiden Schultz. We'll go to the replay and have a look at that.
See what happened there with Aiden Schultz. So it looks like Schultz has gone up into the wall, brought it down, and spun around on the going down, hitting the infield a little bit, and that's launched him back into the wall. And that is going to be that for Aiden Schultz. So that's going to be pretty much a finisher for his race, unfortunately. He's towed back to the pits, I think. I'll just have a little bit of a look, see exactly what happened. He might have managed to drive into the pits on his own behest. No, he's had to tow it back into the pits. So quite a lot of damage there on the A1 SimSports car.
You had to mention, no, it wasn't too bad on the safety cars, Carl. The commentator's curse.
It's guaranteed to happen, but I imagine there's going to be some relieved drivers out there, because now they can come in and swap those tyres. Probably the driver that's going to be most relieved about this is Stephen Williams, who is going to get those nice fresh tyres that he didn't get beforehand. So Stephen Williams has got a set of tyres in the bank. So that could be useful come the end of the race. Because as I say, these drivers only have 4 sets of tyres. So they've already used 2 now. So they've only got 2 left. So will be interesting to see how they go.
Absolutely. So Stephen Williams is going to have to try and be there or thereabouts to be able to use those tyres, that extra set of tyres, if they get a late pit, safety car or caution.
Yeah, that's it. So they've got this is their.
Now look at this. Look at how long Jason Hardigan's in here for. That has to be a penalty.
Yeah, there has to be a problem with Hartigan. If he got a penalty, he would have to go out and serve it. So something's gone wrong there for Hartigan. Unfortunate, because he's still stuck there, and he's finally coming out now. That was a long stop for Hartigan, so I wonder if there was a bit of a technical issue there.
Yeah, that's put him right down the bottom of the field. It's actually put him down in position 19 now.
Yeah, he's dropped all the way down there. That's really unfortunate for him. And that's going to really affect his race. So a real big shame there for Jason Hardigan, who was having a fantastic run up until then.
And this has played right into the hands of the Mitch Motorsport guys, Josh Mickelmore and Jason Martin.
as is often the case, they have some good luck, especially Jason Martin, who tends to have that luck on his side. Again, it's paid off well for him tonight, as he has managed to get back up there. So this is really good news for Jason Martin. Foster has still got a couple of teammates around him as well. Danny G's dropped back a little bit, dropped back behind JCW. Edward Foster there as well. So he's got a couple of teammates around him. Just below him is his teammate JCW. Hamish Gallagher's worked out well for, as well as Jake Maloney. Jake Maloney having an absolute... oh, sorry, I've got the wrong screen. For some reason, everything's locked up.
It looks like they're getting ready for a restart here, but this is going to play into the hands of Martin and Foster being on the high line, actually.
Yeah, although we'll see how this goes. We'll have to see how this goes as the green flag comes out. Josh Mickelmore makes a good restart there, gets away nice and smooth. As we see, I think Aiden Schultz in the background just dropping down to the low line. Looks like his engine is done for. It's pretty much gone on him. But up the front, they are battling away, and Foster's making a move on Martin now. He's got behind his teammate JCW. They're going to push Hamish Gallagher a little bit, and Foster's going to try and get up there in front of Josh Mickelmore, and he's done a great job there. Brilliant restart from Gallagher, Foster, and JCW. Just absolutely rocketing away there.
Absolutely, that was just well played by those three.
It's almost like they rehearsed that. They did such a good job. Brilliant work there from those guys. And obviously, you can look at the teammates. Obviously, those two are going to be working together. But Hamish Gallagher is out there on his own, and he's managed to make it work. He's just basically seen what those guys are getting up to, and decided to follow them the best he can. And he's done a great job of keeping a hold of them.
I'm just wondering whether these three do synchronised swimming on the weekend together.
I imagine that would be one heck of a sight, and definitely something I would give. Well, it would give most people nightmares as well. I imagine.
Yeah, I just had a cold shiver run down my spine. Let's not talk about that or even think about that again. But look at this! Look at the gap that these three have put on the rest of the field.
Yeah, they have absolutely rocketed away. Brilliant restart there. Mitch Motorsport have really struggled on that restart and are actually dropping back. And I've got the feeling they might be looking at saving fuel or tyres. They might just be in that saving mode, not putting too much stress through the car, because they are really dropping back. And they're starting to drop back into each other's positions as well. So, I'm not sure what they're up to. It looks like they might just be dropping back to try and tyre save or something like that, because they're definitely not on pace, and they're definitely struggling.
100%. So, and look who's now in fifth.
Yeah, I was about to say that. A brilliant result there from Jason Hardigan, who's just absolutely rocketed it up the field. Jason Martin, I think, might have contacted the wall. I'm just trying to look back, because I did see a bit of a moment for somebody, and I saw a purple car having some trouble. So I'm just trying to look back through the through time on that one, just rewound it a little bit. But that might have been the catalyst for helping Jason Hartigan. Yeah, Jason Hartigan's. Oh, he's actually just caught Martin. So Jason Hardigan just caught Martin with the side as Martin was moving around Stephen Williams, and that's meant a handful of cars have had to actually check up, and that's dropped Jason Martin down to 16th position.
And all the while this has been going on, Michael Skurlock has made his way up into 4th place.
And look up at 1st place. Edward Foster has taken the lead of the race. Good result for him. So he's doing a fantastic job up there. Hamish Gallagher is pressuring him away. Skurlock is up there now as they get past, I think, Matt Hunter there in the forgotten the name of the team, which is always good. But yeah, just getting past Matt Hunter there. So flying away, those guys. That worked out well for Foster, though, getting up there. But Jason Martin, Danny G, and Josh Bicklemore have all managed to connect to each other now, down there 14th, 15th, and 16th. So those guys are just running a different race at the moment. Those guys are just running to their own pace, I think, and not putting too much pressure on the car. It's a bit of a hare and tortoise moment for these guys. So Foster and Gallagher, all these front runners, are starting to do the hare. They're running away with it. They're putting as much pressure as they can to try and make up a gap. Meanwhile, Danny G, Josh Bicklemore, and Jason Martin are all just easing the car off a little bit. They're lifting off through the corners. They're not putting too much strain on the car. And also that's going to mean they're going to have a longer fuel running to be able to have more fuel towards the end of the race as well, but also keep their tyres slightly fresher, because these guys only have one set of tyres left to change. So that's the other big thing. They only have one set of tyres left, and we're not even halfway through the race.
Yeah, 100%. And as you can see, you know, I'll actually bring up the timing board, and you'll be able to see that their lap times are about a second slower than the guys in front. But I'm just showing their best time. Let's go to their last lap time, and if you look down to the guys, look down to position 14, 15, 16, they're roughly a second slower than the leaders.
Yeah, well, they're almost a second to the dot. The last lap for Foster was a 31.44, and Josh Mickle was a 32.47. So pretty much exactly 1 second off the pace, and that very much sounds like drivers just easing it off a little bit, and just trying to run a little bit of their own race and try something a little bit different on the strategy.
Well, they know that these cars are going to come back to them as the race unfolds. If there's no caution period, these cars at the front will start coming back to them. So the ground that they're losing on them now, they'll make up. But the question is, will they be able to make up enough ground?
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. Obviously, if they can stay out and don't have to stop, they could make up a huge amount of positions in time. But they're running the risk of a caution. If a caution comes out, they're going to struggle a bit. So they're banking on a green race for the rest of this race. Basically, they're banking on a green one. So they're going to leave it and let these guys at the front wear their tyres down. Have to pit a little bit earlier. What they might do as well is they might pit, say, 10 laps later than the lead pack. So then they've got fresher tyres towards the end of the race. They'll want to keep around about 20 odd seconds to the leaders, as Jake Maloney's just dropping down. I'm not sure what the problem is there for Jake. Looks like he's got some form of technical issue, as he was running up there in 6th place. So he's coming into the pit lane now, so I think maybe some issue for Jake Maloney, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's disappointing to see, but yeah, you can see Gallagher all behind Foster here, just pressuring him. He's not letting up at all.
Yeah, Gallagher is really pushing along, and he is going to be the bane of Foster's existence as he sits there. Foster's going to be looking back at that car, seeing the Taylor Swift bad blood on there, and cursing her name, I'm sure. But he is going to be seeing that car in his rearview mirror, and he knows that Maloney is fast. He doesn't want to let Maloney past, so he's going to try and keep that position for as long as he can.
Yeah, this is we're going to be looking at some interesting racing coming up here, and we're looking at JCW now. He's on his own. He's about if you're looking, it's about I think it's about almost a second and a half behind Gallagher, and 0.6 of a second in front of Skurlock. So he needs to try and either bridge the gap or hook up with Skurlock and try to catch these cars in front of him. All the while, we've got Jason Hardigan who's on a charge trying to make up ground as well.
Yeah, he's doing his best. Just dropping back a little bit for Ashley Davis. He's had a big incident coming off of turn number 4. Hit the wall, gone down. He's done a similar thing to the first incident with Lachlan Urquio. Similar things happened to him. Gone across the infield. He's come up, just seen the leaders and managed to keep on the low line, but a lot of damage on that car, so he might be out of this race, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's just caught it again and then hit the wall, and there we see him on the grass. He's managed to keep the car going, so he get back on track. But yeah, like you said, that might end up by being terminal for him.
Yeah, their leaders may have been a little bit worried there for a second as they saw that car on the grass, because sometimes it is very easy to lose the rear end of those cars. As Gallagher just touches the wall slightly there. But it is very easy to lose those cars on the grass, spin, and then spin up the track. So it's not the easiest thing running these cars, because of course they are on slicks, and they're not really built for running across anything slippery. So they are hard to control. You can see now Gallagher's dropped back a little bit from Foster after that little contact with the wall.
So he's just regaining composure a little bit, fallen into the hands of JCW slightly, but not enough to be any concern. And now he's getting on with the job.
Yeah, doing a great job. Just jumping down the field, Bradley Allison is putting a lot of pressure on Norman Clark at the moment. Bradley Allison, one of those drivers that is in the chase, having a fantastic season, Bradley, and doing a great job as usual. We've seen some brilliant stuff from Bradley Allison. Again, a rookie this season, pretty much rookie this season, and he's doing a fantastic job again up there in the top 10, pressuring Norman Clark, one of the more experienced drivers of the series, and one of the fast ones as well. Up in front of them, you've got Raymond Yeager trying to chase down Adam Roselle. And again, Adam Roselle doing a brilliant job. Again, rookie in the season. So good job from him, running up there in 6th, showing some really good pace.
And we just go down here to watch Riley Curtis and Lachlan Urquio just battle it out here for 11th and 12th. Lachlan's got command of the high line here, and Riley's trying to get past. He's got the nose ahead, so he's going to be able to complete the move. It looks like he might be able to do it.
He's going to be trying his best, as looks like Lockheed's just having a little bit of an issue there with blinking. Of course, the hard part is the car now is very the tyres have gone away, so trying to run that low line is very hard, and that's going to lose Riley Curtis some time and give Lachlan the chance to get up there. So good little battle between them. And we're also seeing a couple of cars coming into the pit lane as well. Mitch Campbell, has come in. It looks like he's just coming in for a tyre change. So obviously he's starting to feel the wear issues on those tyres on lap 64 now.
Absolutely, and we're also seeing the lap times starting to even out. Foster did a 32.3 that last lap. Micklemore 32.4, so Danny G was a 32.3 as well. So their lap times are very, very similar. So it's all evening out now.
Jumping back to the 350 of Michael Skurlock, who is in a bit of a JP Simshed sandwich, but doing a great job as he's battling it out between JCW and Jason Hartigan, who has done a miraculous recovery drive from the back to the front almost. But Michael Skurlock's got some good pace in the car at the moment, pressuring the car in front of him. Those guys are battling very hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Any closer, these three any closer, and they would probably need protection.
Yeah, they'd have to wear their face masks because they are not within social distance limits.
Absolutely. And we're watching Skurlock here going down on the inside line. Very convincing move, and right up in front of JCW. JCW's not having any of it. He goes straight down to the inside line, and it's almost a return serve. So no, I'm not going to have that. I'll get back in front of you now.
Yeah, what happened there though was Skurlock, when he made that move, he lost the car, but that was a huge moment of understeer for him. He's come up across JCW's nose, lost the rear tyre, so those rear tyres will have overheated a little bit, and basically just lost the drive off the corner, giving JCW that position back. Brilliant driving from everybody there, and this has given Adam Roselle a really good chance to catch up to these guys too.
And look at this, Jason Hardigan now is having a look at the high line as well. And yeah, amazing presence of mind by all three drivers. And this is a testament to their ability and I guess their confidence in each other as racers.
Yeah, that's a big thing as well, is these guys are very confident with each other. They know how the other drivers drive, and it does make a big difference. When you see rookie coming out and somebody you're not too sure of. So Adam Rosell, for instance, is one of those drivers that, you know, he hasn't been through the Cup too long and will be one of those drivers that people aren't too sure of. He's not done anything wrong, and then, you know, he's had a good season so far with all the races he's been in. But he's a driver that most of these guys haven't raced before. So you do tend to be a little bit more cautious of those drivers. He's made 11 starts this season, so he has been in a fair few races, but and he just catches the wall there as he's going through turn number 4. And he's managed to catch the car before it slides. A good job from him. But that's what I'm talking about. It's those drivers that are a little bit less experienced, and people you don't know. It can sometimes make it a bit tricky when you're racing them because you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
As we see Jason Hartigan getting down underneath his teammate of JCW. These two are battling hard now as well. Hartigan's rear tyres have just let go of him as well, and that's going to force him to leave off there. He was just getting down on the inside line as they went through turn number 2. This is going to give Skurlock a chance to attack, as Hartigan's rear tyres have overheated by the looks of it because he's struggling to keep it going in a straight line.
Yeah, you can see the attitude of Hartigan's car, and Michael Skurlock saw that as well and went for the just decided to put that extra little bit of pressure on him.
Yeah, he's doing a great job there, just stopping the car from crashing there, because that's the hardest thing in that sort of respect. That's where you really do struggle. It's very easy to crash these cars. It's very easy to have mistakes. Just jumping back a little bit to P7, Bradley Allison is doing a great job and is now catching Adam Rosell. He's managed to get past Norman Clark and Raymond Yeager. He just absolutely blitzes his way past those guys, and he's starting to chase down Adam Rosell now and try and get that position.
Now I'm just looking down the order now as well, Carl. I'm just going to put the timing tower back up, because have a look at the difference in lap times again between the lead pair of Foster and Gallagher, and we're going down to Danny G and Martin there. Everything seems to have evened out quite a bit now.
Yeah, they're starting to even out quite a bit between those guys. Also, Jason Martin has managed to work his... he's still struggling down there a bit. Sorry, Jason Martin is a bit further down than Josh Micklemore and Danny G. He's struggling a little bit for speed, it seems. But those guys are now setting similar pace times to the leaders. And that's good work from them, because they're keeping those tyres relatively fresh. They've dropped about 14 seconds from those leaders, so they're a little bit down on the pace, but they have got a good position at the moment.
The thing is they're all running. They're pretty much running together or running on their own. There's no one around them to pressure them, so they're able to run those laps and not put too much, not ask too much of their tyres. So it does look like they're going to have fresher tyres come the tail end of this stint. It will be very, very interesting what's going to happen if we get a caution, or if this stays green. But going up the front, Gallagher has started to put pressure on Foster again.
He has, but look at the lead that Foster and Gallagher have over Jason Hartigan at the moment.
They've checked out.
Seconds. Yeah, these guys have really pulled out, and that's something we haven't really noticed until now, is they've got a huge gap up the front now.
Let's see if we can... I don't even think we're going to be able to see it with the blimp. Let's go to the blimp and see if we can get an idea of that gap, a visual idea of the gap. There you go, back to Hartigan.
So, in terms of the gap, these guys are basically almost the entire back straight ahead of those guys. So, to give you an idea, that's 5 seconds of this place. Is that entire back straight is the distance between Foster and Gallagher over Hartigan, Carol Walden, Skurlock, Allison, and Rosell. And Bradley Allison has managed to get past Adam Rosell now as well. So Adam Rosell's starting to drop back a little bit. Looks like he might have just pushed a little bit too hard on his tyres, and he's starting to struggle a bit now, as we've seen a few cars get past him. So we've seen Yeager, Stephen Williams, and Norman Clark get past him now.
Yeah, it looks like his tyres are definitely past their prime. But check out these camera angles, these new fly cam and drone camera angles from Track Cams for Gourmets. Absolutely fantastic viewing. Once again, thank you very much for Track Cams and Gourmets for supplying us with these awesome camera packs.
Yeah, the cameras are absolutely fantastic from Track Cam for Gourmets, and they really do enhance the feed. They make everything look so pretty and also look much more like an actual full metal race car than a sim race car. A brilliant job from them. And if you are looking at enhancing your streams or your own broadcasts, things like that, Track Cam for Gourmet definitely well worth looking into.
And all the while at the front, this battle is still raging on with Hamish Gallagher. I get the impression that Hamish is just sitting behind Foster. He knows that he'll probably have to put less fuel in his car on the next stop. He's going to let Foster lead this unless he makes a mistake, and then he'll pounce.
Yeah, he is just not worried too much at the moment. Obviously, the most important lap to lead is the final lap, and that's the big thing.
100%.
That one. But you can see now Foster's starting to catch up to Phil Otto there in 17th place. So these guys are starting to catch up to the guys who are towards the rear of the grid, 17th place that is. And they are doing a good job of catching them up. And they will be actually catching up to people like Jason Martin, Danny G and Josh Micklemore relatively soon, actually. They are starting to really put the pressure on those guys. So Jason Martin is the one that's in the danger zone at the moment because he has dropped off quite a lot. He is about 25 seconds down off of his teammates, or only 19 seconds down. Losing his teammates' position is really hurting him a bit. And I think Danny G is coming into the pit lane. Danny G is pitting, so we've got Danny G into the pit lane already. So that's a big surprise to me.
Yeah.
I expected these guys to try and go for the overcut rather than the undercut. We are on lap 81, so sort of prime position for those pit stops. But Danny G pitting now, I thought those guys would have been saving rather than going slow, but maybe they're just struggling out there tonight.
Yeah, it looked. I mean, they were in control for the first stint, and it just seemed to go pear-shaped for them after they came out for the second stint. So maybe it's a genuine case of lack of pace because Josh Micklemore has also come in.
Yeah, so it looks like these guys are just staggering their pit stops a little bit and coming out. So Danny G is going to come out now, and he's going to be a good two laps down, actually, if Foster and everyone catches him, which they are. So he's going to be 2 laps down now, but he will be able to get that back. So expect to see him race as hard as he can to keep on that 1 lap down, because, of course, if the caution comes out now, that's really going to affect him. They're going to force their leaders to sort of think about pitting relatively soon because they're going to see the pace of these guys on the fresh tyres, and they're going to have to start thinking about covering them off, especially people who are down in about 10th place onwards. Those are the ones that are going to have to start covering these guys off. So I'd be interested to see how they do. And you can see that Danny G's had a relatively good outlap, a good pit stop in fact, because he's managed to get a good lead on Josh Micklemore.
Yeah, he's had a real good outlap. Now let's just stick with Danny G now for a minute, and let's see what his lap time is on the next lap. It'll be interesting to see.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how much that lap time is going to affect him, because I imagine it's going to be a lot faster now with those new tyres. Just up towards the front, Stephen Williams has come in for those new tyres. So Stephen Williams is making his tyre stop now as well. So he has got 1 set of tyres left, whereas all the rest of the field don't have any left. So this is their last set of tyres. So they're going to have to make these ones count because they have no more after this one, I think.
So Danny G's about to cross the control line, I think. Look across. He's about halfway there. So it looks like his last lap was a 30.8. So, you know, that's a good 1.6, 1.7 seconds faster than the leaders at the moment.
Yeah, almost 2 seconds. Just looking at that, you can see Stephen Williams just coming out behind Danny G now. You can see the positions that they've made because Stephen Williams was a good distance up the road from Danny G. So you can now see the power of the undercut starting to set in. So he's going to make up some good positions. people like Bradley Allison and Raymond Yeager, Norman Clark are going to have to be wary of these guys because if it remains green, they're going to gain some good positions. Of course, that will come back towards the end of the race as they're on much fresher tyres. But we have seen that the tyre drop-off isn't quite as much as we expected. Once they get to a certain stage, they seem to plateau a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of these drivers are just sort of setting similar lap times as they were early on when those tyres started to drop off.
Sorry, Carl. Jason Martin has pulled the trigger as well, and he's come into the pits. So has Lachlan Urquio. Michael Schroeder has come into the pits as well. So guys are starting the pit now, and have a look at this. Hamish Gallagher is starting to really apply the blowtorch to the back
Foster
of...
and Gallagher are pitting.
Yep. They had to cover off those guys, otherwise they were going to just catch up too quickly to them.
Yeah, Jason Hardigan coming in as well. Oh, Jason making a big lock-up as he comes over the pit line. Hopefully he wasn't speeding, because that could have been a big moment that could really affect him. That's going to leave Joshua Carroll out in the lead now. Michael Skurlock just behind him, Bradley Allison there as well. So that's going to help those guys. If a caution comes out now, it could be very useful for those guys. But the battle is now on with Foster and Gallagher in the pit lane.
Now, I'm going to say Foster probably has more fuel to put in his car than Gallagher does.
Yeah, he might have that little bit of extra fuel.
Or not. Have a look at that.
I think they're pretty much similar. They're just going to take the full amount of fuel to get them to the end of this race, just in case they get caught out with a bit of a clean run from each other. Foster actually had the better stop there as well, so he's managed to pull a little bit more gap over Gallagher. Jason Hardigan as well getting a good stop coming out now too.
Absolutely. Now that actually surprised me a little bit. I was expecting Foster to need to take a little bit more fuel than Gallagher. Maybe Gallagher put a little bit too much fuel in his car. I don't know.
Yeah, it can be quite tricky to change the fuel and all that kind of stuff yourself. A lot of these guys do use the crew chief it's an app designed for sim racing where you can actually speak to a crew chief and actually set your numbers like fuel, tyres, things like that.
Sorry, Carl. Have a look at this. Jason Martin in 16th, Foster's in 6th, and Martin is racing Foster, and Foster's just let him go. He got caught up behind a slower car. Foster just said, "No, look, I'll let you go. I'm just going to keep doing my thing."
Yeah, I think the Mitch Motorsport guys have realised that they've made a bit of a mistake. Jason Martin is 2 laps down, and he is struggling, but it has worked out really well for Danny G. He's come up quite a few positions. He's managed to work his way up to 9th through those. They've still got people like JCW, Bradley Allison and Norman Clark out on the track. So those guys are hoping for a late caution. Those guys are going to stick it out there as long as they can until those tyres become nothing more than canvas, I imagine, just in case there is a late caution.
I would almost expect to see JCW and Norman Clark give up their spot for Foster, but Bradley Allison, there's no loyalty there. He can stay out as long as he wants.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because at the moment Foster is that first car that is a lap down. He could be in a good spot because he will get the lucky dog if a caution comes out. So it's not going to be a huge issue for Foster in that respect. The trouble comes when some people get into different positions, and that can start throwing things around and make things a little bit tricky and difficult. So expect to see Foster trying to get his lap back. As you see, JCW just getting up into the wall there. Jason Martin is still ahead of Foster, and that's going to help Foster out a little bit because he's going to get a bit of draft off of him. And you can see they're closing up to JCW now. They are getting very close, and these guys are just going to drive around him without much trouble at all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really time. JCW has probably left his pit stop maybe 2 or 3 laps a bit too late. He should have maybe pulled the trigger a little earlier.
He could have done, but the thing is now is he's going to have fresher tyres towards the end of the race, and this could come back to help him. Bradley Allison is pitting in now, so Allison is going to come into the pit lane. So he's the first of those guys up who've not pitted coming in. I expect to see JCW and Norman Clark coming in relatively soon because I imagine their fuel figures are just coming into a bit of a lower number.
Yeah, 100%. And This is some interesting racing here between Foster, Martin, and Gallagher. Gallagher has made his way back onto the back of Foster's car, and once again, I just get the impression that Gallagher is just holding station and just looking for his opportunity. Really patient racing by Gallagher, and I have to admit by Foster as well. He knows that Martin is quite a couple of laps behind him in P16 or wherever he is. I think P16.
Yeah.
And he's not going to buy into any racing with him. He's going to run his own race from here on in.
Well, this is just going to help Foster a little bit because he's going to get that car in front of him, give him a little bit of a draft. He's not going to have too much issue.
Just going to sit here with Mitch Campbell. Something's happened there. I don't know if he's gone off track or if he's glitched. Looks like he may have.
He's had a big moment as he's come through turn number 4 into the wall and gone across the grass. I think that's the second time for Mitch this race. Just going up there a little bit too high, but he's managed to hold the car nicely across the grass. He's not cranked the wheel too hard, not put his foot down on the accelerator, come back on the track and just easing the car through the corner. Good job from Mitch Campbell. Good recovery there and good save.
Did his best impersonation of a four-wheel drive.
Yes, doing a good job of turning that into a rally car there. Now, just looking down and Foster there, just getting a big draft off of Jason Martin, almost touching the back of that car. Closing speed was very quick there. I think it caught Foster by surprise. But he didn't get past Jason Martin, but he almost went into the back of him with those closing speeds.
Yeah, and this is probably, if anything, this is holding Foster up and allowing Gallagher to get right up behind him.
Yeah, it's giving Gallagher a little bit more of a run. He's also getting that double draft effect as well, and that's going to help him out because he has 2 cars punching a hole in the air for him, whereas Foster only has 1. So that can help out a little bit too. We have seen that the cars that do drop out of the draft tend to struggle a little bit, especially as they go down on the low line. That low line is definitely not helping drivers out today. It is a bit slippery and there's a few too many marbles down there for the drivers to enjoy. But he's definitely trying his best to get past Jason Martin. But these guys are on relatively similar tyres, so it will be a bit difficult. And Jason Martin doesn't have to give that position up, of course.
And this might play into Foster's hands here because they're coming up on a slower car. I think it's Mitch Campbell who's on the outside. No, he's gone to the inside. No, he's going to hold all of them up, actually.
Yeah, he's sort of trying to hold his line there and not get out of the way. Not really try not to sort of change his line too much to sort of help the drivers in front. But it looks like he had a minor loss there. Joshua Carroll-Walton's pitted just now, so he's into the pits finally. That's leaving Norman Clark out to get a lap led for this race and get that bonus point.
And Norman Clark, you'd call him the elder statesman of the ANZCAR series. Absolutely funniest character, great to talk to, and he's not a bad steerer either. No,
a lot of experience in Norman Clark. He's not one to admit how good he is, but he is a very good driver, and especially on those twisty courses. He's coming into the pit lane now, though. A lot of experience, a lot of full metal racing experience as well over in South Africa. So he's got a lot of experience on the belt, and he's quite a canny character as well. He knows what he's doing. He's one that is not going to hold people up. He's not going to race if he doesn't need to, but he can often find some really good positions.
Absolutely, and for drivers starting out in this kind of series, this kind of racing, having a Norman Clark in your series is invaluable because the amount of information that you can glean from the guy is brilliant. Yeah,
and he is a very clean racer as well, which is nice. Had a few good races with Norman out there in a few different cars, and it's always a pleasure racing him because he's not gonna cut your nose off or anything like that unless there's a little mistake. He does his absolute best to keep as clean as possible, and he is one of those drivers that when you're racing, you feel quite confident in his racecraft, which is always a nice thing to do. Just jumping back a little bit, To Bradley Allison, we saw he was the first of those three to pit earlier on. He was a little bit down, but he's managed to get up to 11th place now. So he's going to start catching up a few drivers and passing them. The one to really watch out for, though, is JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walden, because he had that lead and he stayed out there for quite a long time. But he's managed to pit a good spot because he's just slicing his way through the field. He's just got past Raymond Yeager and Stephen Williams on the same lap. And he's got himself back up to 5th position now. And he's starting to chase down those leaders. And Danny G as well. He has just got past three of some of the best drivers in the series in a little under a lap there. So great job from JCW. And this is the advantage I was talking about of staying out that bit longer, because you come out on those beautiful fresh tyres and you will have a bit of extra speed. So, for example, the last lap for JCW was a 30.67. The last lap for the leader, Edward Foster, was a 32.2. So you can see that advantage that they have with staying out that little bit longer. They're now on those lovely fresh tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. And JCW's absolutely carving them up. He's in 5th place now, 5.5 seconds behind Michael Skurlock, and he's just reeling him in.
Yeah, he's doing a great job to catch up to those guys. It might be a bit much to ask to catch the leaders, because these tyres do seem to plateau onto the 32s eventually. But he might work his way up to a good position, maybe 4th place. He's got a Michael Skurlock to catch for that. And with his current speed, it could be possible. It could be within a few laps that Hamish Gallagher's made a big mistake there. Gallagher has made a big mistake coming off of turn 4. He's hit the wall, I think. Big crunch into the wall for Gallagher coming off of turn 4. But he's lost the rear end a little bit, and that's caused him to understeer up into the wall. Big moment there. He's managed to catch the car, got across the grass, but that's cost him a huge amount of time. Also, that's going to cost him time in the future as well, because he's got damage on the front of that car, and that is a big relief for Foster.
Yeah, that's given Foster a bit of a free kick, given him a bit of breathing space as well. So,
and Foster will be glad the caution didn't come out, because Foster needs this race to remain green now, and that's going to be what he is hoping for, is a green flag finish for this race. Won't say any more about that, because guaranteed we will curse. But he is doing a good job out there. Now that JCW's done the few laps, he's starting to plateau a little bit. He's about a second faster at the moment than the rest of the drivers, from being 2 seconds faster. So he's dropped down to only being a second faster than those guys. The other driver out there, of course, on those fresher tyres is Norman Clark, and he's currently hunting down Jason Martin. So expect Norman Clark to start putting some pressure on Jason Martin in the near future.
absolutely. And we're also watching Jason Hardigan start to take time out of Hamish Gallagher after that. Not a lot, though. Hamish Gallagher's last lap time was a 33, but that was because of the incident that he had. He's back into the 32s now, but Jason's looks like he's come foul of the wall as well, but he's managed to keep it on the track.
Yeah, Jason Hardigan does have a skill of wall riding. We've seen that in some of the short track races we've done in the ANZCAR League this season. He is very good at keeping that car so close to the wall. And he is one of the drivers that uses VR. And that does help an enormous amount. You can see right here that the 09 of Lachlan Urquio is just going down the inside of Hartigan. He's just pitted, so he is on nice fresh tyres. So he should have the speed advantage over these guys. Looks like Skurlock's going to do his best to try and get onto the back of Lockie, get a little bit of a draft to come up on Jason Hartigan now. So it's going to be a good race between Skurlock and Jason Hartigan at the moment.
Absolutely, yep. You can see Skurlock's just inching his way forward. And as I've always said, at the beginning of the race, where was he? I think he was in 18th place, and now he's in 4th.
Yeah, he always does a good job of catching everybody up. And he's another driver that uses VR as well. And it's one of those things that does help an enormous amount. It gives you a much better peripheral vision and also a little bit more sense of space. It's a strange sensation, of course. It does take a while to get back into the swing when you do switch over to these things. I've started using a dual monitor setup myself, which has been a strange experience because, again, having to just get used to that. But it does make a huge difference when you switch to these things. Obviously, there's a debate of the ultra-wide monitors to VR, of course, and both do have their advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, VR gets very heavy and very hot and can be a bit uncomfortable when you're racing in it. But I'm sure without a doubt that the VR does give you that little bit better spatial awareness and just helps you out, especially on these tracks where you need to run so close to the wall and having a little bit more confidence.
Absolutely. I've been fortunate enough to use triple screens, ultra wide monitors, and VR. And although the VR certainly doesn't give you the what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't give you the kind of visual aspect that the monitors do. It isn't as graphically clear as the monitors. What you get is that sense of immersion. And you also get that spatial awareness that you sometimes lack with the monitors.
Yeah, that's it. The visual acuity is a little bit down on the VR. Obviously, it's a very small little screen inside of those VR headsets, but they are improving, and that's the fun thing about it. Is it does get better each year, it seems, and every new generation is a little bit less punishing on the hardware and a little bit better on the pocket side of things as well. It's not quite as hard on the pockets.
Absolutely. Well, I've got the new Hewlett-Packard Reverb Gen 2 coming, so that's going to be really interesting to see how good the differences are from the first of the Rifts.
Yeah, it's some big steps in technology there, and some of the optical systems used in them are very, very interesting. That's the side where I find interest because I am an optical nerd. But they are getting a lot better and a lot better clarity as well, which is what you want in VR. But up at the front, we still have Foster leading Gallagher. Gallagher has dropped off a bit. He's almost 2 seconds down off Foster now. Jason Hartigan is 5 seconds off the lead, but he's still got Skurlock right on his tail. Those two are battling it out very well. A little bit further back, we have Raymond Yeager and Josh Mickelmore having a good battle. Josh Mickelmore getting past Yeager. Stephen Williams behind them. That's the battle at the moment. Those three cars are battling hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we've got Riley Curtis on Adam Roselle, so that's another big battle. These guys are fighting for 12th and 13th here. Yeah,
battles all the way down the field, and of course you sort of think, well, 12th and 13th, they're not that important, but you do get huge points for those positions. It's not like other series where you sort of get points for scoring in the top 10. There are points all the way down the field, and it's all about finishing in a good position, and that's the important thing. Is if you can finish in the top 10, things like that, it's going to help you out quite a lot. At the moment, Jason Martin is trying his best to finish inside that top 10. He's currently chasing down Bradley Allison, but I fear he's going to have a hard job of that. Bradley Allison came into the pits a lot later, and he's on much fresher tyres. So he is on tyres that are about a good 20 laps fresher than Jason Martin. So I can't see Martin having too much success with catching up to him. But
it's certainly going to be hard work. The last few laps between Allison and Martin, Allison was only a 1/10 of a second quicker for each of those laps, but he was still a 1/10 of a second quicker, which means he's pulling away marginally from Martin every lap.
And sorry to interrupt you, JP. Joshua Carroll Walden having a moment there, hitting the wall. He's managed to save it. Just a big tail slide into the wall there. Got very lucky not to cause too much damage to the car. But I did want to mention him because he came in for those tyres a lot later, of course, but his tyres have now started to plateau. So he's setting times of about a 32.5, whereas people like as Michael Skurlock, Jason Hartigan are still on a 32.3 and 32.4. So those tyres have now plateaued for Joshua Carroll Walden, and he's now setting similar lap times to the guys in front of him.
Yeah, and as you can see with the rest of the field, that's going to be the same as well. I get the impression that at this stage, Stephen Williams would be absolutely hoping for a safety car, a caution period, so he can get in there. I think he's got one more set of tyres, doesn't he?
He does, yes. Stephen Williams has got those tyres ready to go. Stephen Williams coming in on lap 84. He's fighting it out with Raymond Yeager at the moment, and of course Josh Mickelmore. They're having a good little battle, and you can see Williams and Yeager having a great battle down there. Obviously, nice to see Jaeger in some nice new sponsorship colours, of course, as he joined, I can't remember the team's name again, I'm sorry for that, but he has joined one of the newer teams, and he's having a good run out there again. He's inside the top 10. Again, solid drive from Raymond Jaeger.
Beast Racing, I think it is.
Thank you so much, JP. This is why I need you in the commentary booth, because otherwise I would forget this stuff.
You just need me in the commentary booth to click buttons and change camera angles, Carl.
That is true as well. Anyway, we are 10 laps to go now. 9 laps as I say that. As Foster is still in the lead, he's got a nice gap over everybody else. And as I say, he's going to be not wanting to see anyone make a mistake from here on out, because the longer this race goes without a caution, the better for him. Stephen Williams, if he gets a caution, he could be in for a good result here. He will really have a big advantage over the rest of the field. But you can see just behind him that Bradley Allison is starting to close down on him as well. Bradley Allison is doing a good job of keeping the pace up, catching up to him too. Joshua Carroll-Walden, as we say, he's plateaued on his speed, so he's not catching up to the cars in front of him. He's still about 10 seconds down on Michael Skurlock, who is still trying to fight with Jason Hartigan, not quite able to catch him. As
just looking here, Carl, between Stephen Williams and Raymond Jaeger. Stephen Williams has just put a move on Raymond, and he's made it stick convincingly. That's moved him up one more spot into P8, and I think what we're going to see now is we're going to see Stephen Williams start to walk away from Raymond, and Bradley's not going to be able to catch him. He'll be setting his sights firmly on Raymond from here on in.
He will be, and you might have heard a big gasp of breath from myself, and that was Phil Otto down in 16th place. He lost the rear end of the car going through turn number 2 again. Treacherous corner tonight, but he managed to keep the car pointing straight. Good recovery and good holding from Phil Otto. Brilliant drive again. So again, just showing the sheer talent of these drivers. You know, these guys are setting pretty much similar lap times. There's no one who is really blisteringly fast out there tonight, sort of, 2 seconds a lap faster that we sometimes see on road courses. On this kind of track, you set similar lap times, but it is that consistency. It's keeping that car straight, keeping those tyres nice and clean and well and working for you that makes the difference. And it really can help out for that consistency. And that's where drivers that are fresh to the series just need that little bit of help sometimes, just to get that consistency, just to get that better understanding of how things work, get that strategy under their way. So don't be perturbed if you do start joining oval racing and you do struggle, because you will absolutely. Don't worry about it at all. It's very hard to do. And I can speak from personal experience there, because this season I have been doing more and more oval racing. And it is very disheartening when you're sort of feeling like you're in last place and you sort of feel like there's nothing you can do. But things can change so quickly on a track like this. It can change very quickly, and all it takes is that little bit of knowledge and getting that bit of experience under your belt, and then you can start fighting it up there with the top guys. And that's what people like Bradley Allison have been doing. Raymond Jaeger over the years, he's been really working hard to cut it out. And Adam Rosell as well this season has said he's only had 11 races, but he's up there in 13th position at the moment. Another great drive from Adam Rosell.
I tell you what, 4 laps to go. Ed Foster at the moment is enjoying a 1.2 second lead over Hamish Gallagher. Hamish Gallagher is chipping into that lead a little by little, but whether he's going to be able to close that, I don't really think so. But I tell you what, the race that we need to be looking at the moment is the race for third place between Hartigan and Skurlock, because Skurlock is putting the pressure on Hartigan.
Yeah, Skurlock is really starting to apply the pressure now. He's turning that screw and he's putting as much pressure on Hartigan as he can. He's really, really trying his best, but those tyres are not looking too happy on him. He does have slightly fresher tyres by about a lap, so there's not going to be much difference in lap time for those guys now, but he is really trying to apply the pressure to Jason Hartigan, who, don't forget, had that big moment earlier on in the race during the pit stops and ended up losing all of his positions, ending up back at the tail of the field earlier on in this race. What an amazing recovery drive from Jason Hartigan. And
we've seen this a few times from Jason, where he has, for no fault of his own, been relegated down to the back of the field, and he's been able to drive his way back into a pretty good position. and he's just been able to eke out a lead against Skurlock here, just 30 seconds on Skurlock. But I was going to say before that their lap times were basically seesawing their lap times. Hardigan would have a better lap, and then Skurlock would have a better lap the next lap, and this time out Hardigan's been able to draw a little bit more away from Skurlock. But we're on the final lap, and it's only fitting that we sit with Ed Foster for that. The hybrid racing simulation's 1 lap to go, and this has also been a masterful drive, because I tell you what, at the stage when he was put down to 9th position, I really didn't think he was going to be able to make it back to first. He's done a brilliant drive to be able to do that.
Yeah, an absolute brilliant recovery drive there from Foster, dropping all the way back in the race. He could have easily lost it, crashed into the wall. He did a brilliant job recovering that car, getting up there into P1. Hamish Gallagher again setting some great lap times, great consistency, getting that 2nd place. And Jason Hartigan, again, Jason Hartigan is pretty much a rookie this season. He did have a couple of races last year towards the tail end, I think 2 races. But this is his first full season, and he is showing what a threat he can be, getting back up there to 3rd place. Michael Skurlock there in 4th place, another good drive from him. JCW as well, starting 11th, finishing 5th. Good result for him. Danny G dropping back a little bit there in 6th place. Josh Micklemore in 7th. Those guys, we thought they were going to be trying something different on the strategy. It looked like they were just struggling, unfortunately. Stephen Williams finishes 8th with Raymond Yeager in 9th. Another top 10 finish for Raymond Yeager. And Bradley Allison as well in P10. Good job from Bradley Allison. Jason Martin finished in 11th at the end. Pretty unlucky day for Martin. We've seen this with Jason Martin sometimes. Luck does not come his way. He is trying for his 50th win in the ANZCAR series for the Cup races. And it doesn't seem to be coming to him. He seems to be stuck on 49 at the moment. A bit of a cursed number, I'm sure. Riley Curtis is down there in 12th place with Adam Rozelle there in 13th. 14th was Norman Clark with Michael Schroeder 15th. 16th was Phil Otto. 17th, Matt Hunter. 18th was Mitch Campbell with Lachlan Urquio in 19th. 20th, Ashley Davis with Jake Maloney 21st. 22nd, Aidan Schultz. And Stuart Pedersen and Michael Shaw down in 23rd. And Michael Shaw did not take the start. But what a brilliant race from Foster. He did a masterclass. And another win for Foster this season. He took a long time to get those wins. It didn't look like any wins were going to come his way in the season almost at one point. But now that's his 4th win this year.
He's really come on at the tail end of this season, and he's really he's starting to threaten now. And yeah, if I was Martin, I'd be very, very worried.
Yeah, this is the result that Foster needed tonight to keep his hopes alive for that championship, because it seems to be the case with Jason Martin that when he has a bad night, it's not that bad at all. He tends to finish in the top 5. But tonight he didn't finish there. He finished in 11th place, which is a bit odd to see from Jason Martin. A bit of unluckiness in himself. He got caught up by the side and managed to catch that car again. Good job for him to recover back to that position. It looked like he was struggling a bit through that race. So, again, it could have been much worse for Martin. But P11 was a good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. A great recovery there, P11. He hasn't fallen that far behind. I think he's still going to leave here leading the championship, isn't he? I'm not sure.
Yes. Should be up in the lead still, but only just, I think. Just trying to figure out the points in my head, which is not so easy to do. But he might have just dropped out the lead with that result. So we'll have to add that up a little bit later. But what we'll do is we'll grab down our 3rd place finisher, get talking to him. That will be Jason Hartigan for the JP Simshed team. Jason Hartigan, congratulations on that 3rd place finish.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Thanks for it. That was some hard work.
Yeah, we've got to ask, obviously. It looks like you made that work harder for yourself with a very long pit stop.
Yeah, that wasn't intentional at all. Nowhere to really go when you're on the high line and there's a car parked on the high line.
Okay, so that's what happened?
Yeah, it was one of I think the second caution, I think it was. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Aidan Schultz, but they lost it and they were sort of parked at the exit of 4, sort of up high. And I was trying to squeeze the gap, but no, there's nothing. So I got a few seconds worth of damage, and car wasn't really right from then. But
Okay, well, gosh, that makes it even better that you managed to get up to P3 again, because we were wondering if it was some form of technical issue on the other side. But hearing you had damage as well, we missed that, unfortunately. So glad to know exactly what happened. But one heck of a recovery drive from you to get back there in P3.
Yeah, man. That restart, I just went ham on it and tried to get as many places as I could, and I think I got up to 6 pretty quick, and then it was just working my way forward from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You caught us a bit by surprise as well, because we were looking around through the restarts, and then all of a sudden we see you up there in the top 10, and we just go, what happened? So brilliant job from that restart. Obviously, it looks to be a pretty tricky track out there tonight. Everybody seemed to be struggling with that tail end.
Yeah. It's 1 and 2, especially, like, she's loose through there, and then you go into 3 and she gets tight, and then too much throttle, she get loose. So it was all over the place. But it was unfortunate when that second caution did come out, and I got that damage because I'd finally sort of got into a nice rhythm, and I started pulling away from everyone else, sort of just cruising really, and just going for it, and yeah, that happened. So that is what it is. Got third, so I'll take that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, bad night, but still coming home third is not too bad a night. But yeah, you definitely had some good pace out there tonight. So before we let you run off, of course, we'll just ask you for shout outs and things like that.
Yep. First shout out to Ed. Like, Ed Foster, he's putting in all the hard work, and it's starting to show. And us as a team are sort of pushing each other further and further. So yeah, like, big shout out to Ed for his result and for what he's doing for this team, and all the rest of the boys in the JPSS squad. And of course our sponsors, Dragon RC, Goodyear Auto Care, Abruzzi, Nationwide Tracking Systems, VR Covers, Autism Australia, and you guys are putting on a show.
No, well, we can't do much without you guys giving us some good track action. You gave us some brilliant stuff tonight, Jason. So we look forward to seeing you next race and seeing what you can pull out the bag next time.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Cheers, boys.
Jason Hardskin there for the JP Simshed team. So next up, we will grab down Hamish Gallagher for the 13 management team and see how he went during that race. Hamish Gallagher, welcome to the booth and congratulations on that P2 finish.
Hey, Carly, it's good to talk to you again. It's been a while since we had one of the little Thursday night chats.
Yeah, we've missed you up in the booth for a bit. It's been a little bit lacking for you for a couple of races, but it seemed to have come back to you tonight.
Oh man, what a stressful race that was. It probably didn't look like it on the broadcast, but man, you were just hanging on every lap there. That was a real long race, but I'm glad we stayed green, because if we had had a late caution there, we would have been, me and Ed, I think, on the same strategy, we would have screwed over because we had no tyres. And so we were just waiting for that late caution, because Martin and Micklemore, they would have had a spare set of tyres, and they would have just blitzed us, I imagine. But glad it stayed green. It was a good result.
Yeah, you got very lucky there. We were watching the sort of the tyre strategies there, and with the late caution, that could have gone pretty badly for you guys. There was a few drivers up there with some different calls on the tyre strategy and stuff like that, but obviously yours paid off tonight. You obviously had some seriously good pace out there tonight as well. We did see that was quite a struggle as well. We did see a lot of the tail coming out, and obviously there was a bit of damage on your car by the end of it as well. Yeah,
I mean, I hit the wall a couple of times, one quite big at the end there, but I was, that's why you got to do it at Kansas. You got to closer to the wall, you get the faster you are. Like, especially, it was quite difficult though, because sort of 1 and 2, it's real loose. You've got to run that seam to get the car to turn. So you're hanging on, especially in exit of 2. Then 3 and 4, it's real tight, so you got to run right up against the wall. So it's stressful, but I really love Kansas. It's one of my favourite intermediate tracks. I don't really usually do very well on these big tracks, but really love this place. So I'm glad to get a result out of it.
Yeah, and a result you did get out of it. And it's been a good season so far for yourself as well. We were talking about that up in the booth with your season, of course. You've been having some good results, 2 wins this season as well. And we did mention at the start of the broadcast as well, we think you're going to be a bit of a threat for next year.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. I think just the quality of this field, so the more time you spend in the seat, the better you get, because when you're racing best of the best, you sort of have to get better. So yeah, I think that's definitely played a part of it. Like, it's been a nice long season. We've had plenty of chances to get improve. So yeah, hopefully I've done that this year.
I would say you've done that and exceeded it as well. Congratulations on that second place. And before I let you go, of course, shout out to sponsors and people in general.
I'll give a shout out to Ed, of course, for the win. It's a very big win for his championship. I'm sure he's going to be very happy with that, especially when we saw old Martin not have a great race. So well done to him. He had this thing locked up. Luckily, he had an excellent start and drove his way back to the front on merit. So good on him. And yeah, just shout out to you guys for the broadcast. It's always top work. So good work to you guys, and just everyone in general, because that was a really good fun race. Once we got through those couple of cautions, that was intense but really good fun. So I loved it.
No, well, thank you so much for giving us such good action and giving Ed such a lot of pressure in that race as well, David. Lots of stuff to talk about. So we didn't want him running off too quickly because it makes it look a little bit boring that way.
Yeah, exactly. Got to keep him honest.
That's it. Thank you so much, Hamish. We'll catch you again, I'm sure, before the end of the season.
Cheers. Thanks, Carl.
Hamish Gallagher there for the 13 management team. So next up, we will grab the race winner, Edward Foster, from the JP Simshed team. Edward Foster, how are you going?
Pretty good, mate. Pretty good.
I wouldn't have guessed that from the radio that I heard of you screaming with joy. Obviously, a good run for you tonight. Looks like you had this car absolutely hooked up perfectly.
Yeah, look, despite my best efforts to knock it out of whack, it was still okay on the long runs. So it did have a bit of push in it, which, given how loose the car was, might have even helped. But on the new tyres, I was slow compared to everyone else, and after the tyres started wearing, I could only run that top line. I couldn't get down the bottom really at all, as you would have seen when I was trying to get around Martin there for a while. After Hamish dropped off the back of me a little bit, I just let him go, got some clean air on the nose and just looked after the tyres to the end and just prayed that caution wouldn't come out, because I knew that both Martin and Micklemore had a spare set of tyres in the bank, which we didn't have. So, it was... If we'd had a caution, it would have been a very different story, but there wasn't, and we won it.
Yeah, and we've just seen on the replay that's going on as we talk, the big moment you had as Danny G came up in front of you. Did you just lose the front end grip when he came up there, or was it a bit of a moment of just trying to avoid the car in front of you?
No, just I think it was. I tried to figure out after the race finish what caused that. We didn't touch or anything like that. I think that Danny came up the track a little bit faster than I expected him to. And as a result, my attention was on him and not where the wall was. And I gave the wall a smack. So at that point, I thought, I bounced across the grass. I said to the guys, I'm like, guys, I reckon it's all over. I couldn't do much. And then fortunately, we got that caution, which allowed me to come down and get some repairs. Came back out. The car wasn't perfect, but as you saw, it was enough to get the job done. So, that's all that matters at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if it falls apart as you cross the line. It gets the job done, and we did.
Yeah, you got that job done extremely well. Getting back up there, as Hamish Gallagher said, on merit as well. Working your way back up there, you got up relatively quickly as well. We saw that you got back to pace relatively quickly. Managed to get up there as well, and obviously that caution helped out a bit. Obviously, I imagine you've been spending a lot of practice and time just to get this track sort of working for you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the whole team are working real hard. Obviously, it's good for being involved in the running of this league as well. It's always good if we have a nice close fight to run us into the end of the championship. And we came into, I think after Bristol or just before Bristol, we were 25 points behind, and Jason was just clearing out in front. And since then, we've managed to close all of that back down. So. I much prefer being the hunter than the hunted. Definitely, everyone's expecting Jason to take out the championship. Well, I think I've said that before. Just given who he is and the things that he's done in the past and all those wins and everything like that. And I guess I'd much rather be in my position, sort of chasing him with nothing to lose, than to be in his position and sort of watching that points gap come down and down and down and down every race. So, definitely I'm not feeling any pressure. I imagine the pressure of expectation is probably on Jason. So, I'll just keep driving like I got nothing to lose. It's been working so far, so I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, and it's been working very well. And obviously, just a quick mention on the team as well. Another good night for the team. You got Jason Hartigan there in third place. Danny G, Joshua Carroll-Walden even in fifth place as well. So another time where you've got 3 cars up there in the top 10 in good positions. And you must be pretty happy with all the work those guys have put in and how the team's coming forwards for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those guys, I've said it so many times, haven't I, that they don't need any encouragement or any motivation from me. Those guys are motivated, and they're doing a fantastic job. Jason it's almost hard to believe he's still in his rookie year because of how fast he's been and just what a great job he's done. Josh Carroll-Walden's always been fast, and I always thought that he would do very well in a team environment, and that's been the case. And Norman could have definitely finished higher than what he finished tonight. He deliberately held back so as not to risk a caution and cost us the race. So I was saying to the boys, please do not bring the caution out at the end, because if they, as we mentioned earlier on, if a caution came out at the end, I'd had it. So he was deliberately not getting involved in too many battles. And unfortunately, it looks as though Lockie got together with Allison and knocked out of the race. So unfortunate for those guys, but they're all improving. They're all in the form of their lives. We're coming good at the right time of the year. We're closing that points gap every single round now, and we just got to keep doing it.
That's it. Obviously, 3 races to go after tonight. Texas is next up on October the 22nd, where you can all join us here on the SimShed Broadcasting. How are you feeling for Texas coming up?
Look, I don't like Texas since they revamped it. It's really not one of my favourite places. I find it quite an awkward track now. But I've got to, even if I don't like it, I've got to figure out a way to make the car like it. So, we'll just get to work on it and see what we can figure out. See if we can just unlock whatever secret there is to unlock. Because there are a few guys that certainly have got that place figured out, and we need to make sure we're one of them. We can't afford bad races from here. We just got to keep cracking on and see where it all shakes out at the end.
Absolutely. And of course, before we let you go, the usual things of shout-outs to sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, definitely. So, the entire team, of course, as I mentioned before. Goodyear Auto Care Warana. I drive the wrong V8, but it's still a great V8. Abruzzi Racewear, Cars for Hope, Track Racer, Nationwide Tracking Systems, Dragon RC, all of those guys that help us out and continue to stay on the car and ride along with us. So great to have them on board, and hopefully we're able to deliver them another win at least before the end of the year. It'd be great.
Yeah, and with your current form, I mean, you've had, this is your 4th win now. It was looking like it was going to be a season where you just had really good finishes and no wins, and now you've got 4 of them. So I imagine that's quite a good feeling too. Yeah,
I mean, we're definitely coming good at the right point in the year. If you're going to go out and smash a whole bunch of wins in a big cluster, make it the chase, huh?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's what we're doing, and we just got to keep doing it.
You picked the right time for it. No worries. Thank you so much, Ed, and we will catch you again in the future.
Thanks a lot.
Edward Foster there for the JP SimShed team. Of course, JP, I imagine you're pretty pleased with that result as well.
Absolutely, completely stoked. I told Ed before the race that I would be keeping my eyes closed for the entire race because these guys send my blood pressure into the stratosphere, but I'm glad I didn't, because that was some awesome racing by Ed. A great comeback from P9, but not only from Ed, an awesome comeback from Jason to get back into third place from being as low as, I think he was in 16th or 17th. So well done there as well, and well done to all of them, because they have just come on so well this year. To think that these guys have formed a team, a stock car team this year to race together, and to see where they are now, it's an absolute credit to them.
Absolutely, it's good to see, and I've mentioned as well to all the drivers in the field tonight, great job for keeping the cautions out on a very tricky racetrack. So coming up for the ANZCAR series, we have our truck season free race at North Wilkesboro, and that's on the 19th of October. So that's coming up very soon. And the aforementioned Texas race here for the Cup. You could join us back here on SimShed Broadcasting for that one, and that's on the 22nd of October. What else have we got coming up on the SimShed Broadcasting Network?
Well, we've got a busy week coming up, Carl. So tomorrow night we've got the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club with the Friday night triple header. So we've got the production cars up first, then the stock cars doing the road circuit, and finishing off with the V8s. And then on Monday we've got the Club Day Masters, so the MX5s, as well as the double header from the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. So they've got their Intro to Wings and their GT3 series. On Tuesday, of course, the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Evolution Championship. We broadcast Split 1 live, and then on Wednesday we have the second split, which is the V8 Drivers Lounge, where we have drivers from the Tuesday night second split get together and just sort of have a bit of a chat and let us know how their race went, and have a bit of a chinwag. And then, of course, on Thursday nights we have back with ANZCAR with the stock cars.
Yeah, so a busy schedule for yourself, busy week for the network, and lots of racing to enjoy, lots of sim racing to enjoy for that as well. So we'll be wrapping it up for tonight. So thank you to all the new viewers. Thank you to everybody that watches, of course. We could not do it without you, and we wouldn't do it without you watching, of course, as well. We love to see and hear from you all. So wishing you all the best. This is me, Carl Withey, and, of course, JP. Wishing you a good night.